Hey everyone, welcome to Coffee and Shadows. This is your girl Nikki. If any of you seen Superstore, I was about to say it's your girl Kelly. But this is your girl Nikki. Anywho, today we're going to take a look at the 2013 film called Jug Face. I want to set up, excuse me, I want to set up the scene for you. Now, the settings the film is actually filmed in Tennessee, and it was filmed in the towns of Franklin, Springfield, and Fairview. It is a community, it's a small community of people that live completely off the grid. And within this community is about 30 people. And this one particular family is the one that the father of the family kind of leads the bunch of these, I was going to call them clowns, not clowns, leads the bunch in this community. Now, Ada, the father's daughter, I forget his name, but the father's daughter's, this movie centers around Ada. Ada's around 14 or 15. I'm guessing by her age because you don't see her in school. Usually I could tell the age of somebody from the school or something that they do for work, but I'm not able to pinpoint her age. Not that it really matters, but it kind of matters. And if you know anything about people that live in these way backwoods, I hope that's, you gotta be careful what you say nowadays. I didn't grow up that way. They usually pull their kids out of school very young, or the kids just don't go to school. So again, this doesn't matter. So I'm gonna move on. So Ada is now in an arranged marriage to join Brody. That's how they tell her. They said, you're going to join Brody and you're going to join him on the next full moon. I don't know how the sun and all that stuff works. So I don't know how long a full moon is. If somebody knows, let me know because I'd be interested with that information. So Ada has two brothers. She has one that's a few years older than her. I believe his name is Ceci, but I'm going to call him Jake just for the purpose, not for the purpose, just for the sake of this review. And then she has a much older brother named Dewey. And Dewey is the one that actually makes these jugs that have the faces on them. Then we have the pit. The pit is in a small area in the woods. And it is the one that actually sends the message or the vocation. It can be called a message or a vocation to Dewey on whose face he should put on this mug. Yeah, on the jug, I mean. And the person's face that's on this jug is either going to be able to live or die by the hands of the pit. So we have two additional characters in this movie. We have the pit, and then we have the jug faces. This movie was extremely interesting. So before marriage, Ada's mother has to do a test on Ada to make sure she is true. What they mean by that is to make sure that Ada is actually a virgin. Again, because these people are in the backwoods and they don't do things that we would consider normal, but is normal to them, she has a particular way that she has to test to see if Ada is actually true. And that scene, that was difficult to watch, to know that this is how they do it. And they do it to all the girls before they get married. So Ada doesn't want her mother doing this to her because the mother is actually going to know that Ada is not true. But the other issue is when her mother finds out that she isn't true, Ada doesn't want her to know that Ada has a boyfriend. So when her mother finds out that Ada isn't true, she gets really mad. Woo, she gets pissed off. And she says, she keeps pressing her on who it is, who's the guy she's been fooling around with. Ada says it's not anybody she's been fooling around with. She did it to herself, if you get what I'm saying. So early on in the movie, I should mention that while Ada, I think she was looking for Dewey. While she was looking for him, when she was in his shed, she found one of his jugs, one of the newer jugs that he had made. And when she finds the jug, it has somebody's picture on it. And this really, it startles her. And now she's got to figure out what to do to prevent this person from having to visit the pit. So she hides the jug. Now, because she hid the jug, and it's a ritual. It's a whole ritual. Dwight makes the jugs. They have a ceremony. So whoever's face is on the jug, they have to get that person. And then, as I mentioned, the pit is going to decide if they live or die. Now, because they don't have this particular jug, now Dwight has to make another one. So he gets a message or a vocation from the pit, and he gets a new face. So I should mention, oh yes. So when they can't find that one, so when Dwight makes a new jug face, the face on there is actually Brody, which is the guy that Ada is supposed to get married to. Now, this has relieved Ada a great deal because now she doesn't have to marry him. And then the ceremony that takes place is they take him and they have a tree stump right by the pit, and he lays over the tree stump. And then I think it was the father that did. I think it was Brody's father that did it. Took a knife and he slit his son's throat, and they did let him just bleed out. So the blood rolls down the stump, and then it finally hits the pit, and then everybody just kind of leaves. They just leave Brody laying there bleeding out and dying. And that is their ceremony. So as I mentioned, the faces of Brody. So now Ada is now out of the clear, or so she thinks, because now they have to find somebody else. So as I mentioned, since she hid the first jug face and they created another one, now because they can't find the original jug face, a whole lot of things end up happening. It becomes a domino effect because you're not supposed to break the process. And since Ada has messed with the process, then a lot of people around town or people she actually know ends up dying. And she is the only one that can fix the situation. And she does end up fixing it, but in a very tragic way. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I find the way that they introduce each character, they didn't go into They didn't go into depth, but you knew each character and what they were about. And this movie is a tough watch because, as I mentioned, the mother has to figure out if the daughter is actually true, and the method she uses is very disturbing. And what was the other part? Oh, and there was another very disturbing scene in the film. And I don't remember at what point it is. I should have wrote it down so I can give you guys a heads up. But it was something I was not expecting. And it just really, it threw me off. And that was kind of it. It's just a really well-made movie. It gives you insight into the people that live in these type of communities, their way of thinking, their way of doing, and how they see the world, but they really don't see the world because they just have their own community. I do recommend the movie. I believe I watched this on Prime. I do recommend the movie. This is actually up there with one of my top movies. One of my top movie is 13 Ghosts. Then it goes Jug Face, the original Friday the 13th back in 1980, which set the whole franchise. And then the fifth one is a movie called and I would do a review of that one as well. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this quick review of the movie. But it's actually called Jug Face, or it's known by another name, The Pit. And as I always like to say, well, I do thank you for stopping by. I don't know if I said that, but I do sincerely appreciate you stopping by and taking a quick listen. And as I always like to say, please have a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening. It all depends on where you are. Ciao.